Hello, my name's Jasper Bruce Wright. Welcome back to Buckle Up, and on this week's episode of Little Man, Medium-Sized Crossover, the new VW Tiguan. Starting with some styling at the front of the Tiguan, you would be forgiven for thinking that this looks quite a lot like the VW Golf, because it kind of does. This section at the top, very familiar. Light clusters, very familiar. What you do have, obviously, with the Tiguan is a bit more bumper, and you've got some nice elements of styling here with some chrome highlighting, a low kind of brush guard, and yes, the front of this definitely looks like a VW product, and it's a pretty inoffensive and smooth bit of styling. Round the side, you've got some lovely 19-inch alloy wheels and some fantastic bright work along your window line and matching roof rails. The side of the car is nice flowing curves, and this paintwork is lovely, really pops in the sunlight. You have some chunky plastic cladding at the bottom of the doors, and this also loops over both wheel arches. Your fuel flap is down here, and then your light clusters for the back curve around from the side of the car into a light bar across the back of the car. This is clad in clear plastic, and you've got your brake light elements here, and your indicators are within this plastic as well. You have large Tiguan script across the back of the vehicle and your chrome VW badge, because this is not an electric product. However, you do have an E in front of the TSI badge, which indicates that this is a mild hybrid. Your boot is tinted glass, as are the rear doors, and you have a small spoiler that pinches out over that screen. If we open the boot, you are greeted with 652 litres of space. It's a fantastically flat opening. It's a flat load space, very wide, quite boxy, so a pretty practical space. You do have a pretty substantial false floor, which can be lowered to increase your boot capacity. And you also have the ability to fold down the rear seats from back here. If you do fold both of those rear seats down, you do get a nice continuous load floor from here to the back of the front seats, which is very handy. There are a couple of practical touches in the boot. You've got some cubby spacers at either side, a little receptacle up here, and a bag hook over here, which folds down. And then for those towists amongst you, I can unfold my appendage. There you go. The fold away tow bar can be popped out and popped back in again using this button here. In the back of the Tiguan, which is very much a family vehicle, there is a lot of space. I have got acres of knee room, but I am sitting behind my own driving position and at the very, very important height of 5'7.5" or 173 centimeters, a bit of extra space in the back is kind of expected. If I were taller, however, I would certainly be very comfortable in terms of both headroom and legroom, because there is a lot of space back here. Now, the seats are quite adjustable in terms of backrest position for reclining or sitting more upright, and this whole bench can actually slide forwards and backwards. So if you want to maximise boot capacity at the expense of rear passenger comfort, that is something you can do. I do have an armrest in the centre with a pair of cup holders that slides out and pops down, which is very handy. That's a nice feature. You can also rest a device in the front of this, which is interesting because I have a feeling that might fall out. So not quite sure how good a feature that is. You have a third climate zone back here, which is accessible in this center console, as well as two USB Type-C charge ports. There is a fantastically large door pocket down here, which is felt lined, very premium, and you've got a large pocket in the back of both of the front seats, as well as two pockets up here for devices. The seats are a lovely fabric. You've got some nice white piping and some pleather, as well as some Alcantara under the seat bases. The tops of the door cards are a little bit plasticky though. In the rear windows, we do have a bit of an Easter egg, because on the passenger side there is a tiger embossed, and in the driver's side there is an iguana embossed. With this model being the Tiguan, You can see their thinking there. It's very, very, very clever, very funny from a German company. Wir gut at sich Huber, ja. Both of the outer seats here have Isofix points, which are just exposed, and they also have a top tether over in the boot. An extra touch of practicality is that there is a pocket by the door card that's actually attached to the seat. So there are a few good places you can drop bits and pieces in the back of this car. Very practical, as it should be for a family car. It's a similar theme to the back seats up here in the front, with the exception of having some better material at the tops of the door cards. This is stitched pleather, so that is a nice element that elevates the front of the cabin. The dashboard is very sleek, very premium. You've got some plastics that flow from the door cards around into the dashboard with the Tiguan script and some design kind of strikes through them. You've got a pair of digital screens with a large driver's instrument cluster that is a very nice configurable display, as well as a massive infotainment screen in the centre, which is VW's latest infotainment system. So very crisp, clear graphics, pretty easy to use and more responsive than some of their previous systems. Below that you have a row of capacitive climate control and volume control sliders, which are thankfully, in this at least, illuminated. In the center console you have a little flip up bit of plastic here, which has two wireless chargers beneath it. You have a pair of USB Type-C ports for connecting to the infotainment system, and then down here you've got your start-stop engine button, as well as a large rotary volume knob, which also doubles as controllers for some other functionality, and your electronic handbrake switch. There's a pair of cup holders here in the center, and then underneath this adjustable height armrest you've also got a storage cubby back here, but if you want to, you can move the cup holder section further back. I don't really know why you'd want to do that though. So there's certain elements of this interior that can be configured for your needs. The glove box is a pretty reasonable size, and it's certainly full width, which is good to see. You can get your owner's manual and some other bits and pieces in there. Massive door bins, again, like in the back, which are felt lined and very premium. So yeah, this cabin on the whole looks nice, feels nice, and is set up very well to be a good family vehicle. Another bonus that we really like to see at Buckle Up is you've got a sunglasses holder in the ceiling. We do like those. So certainly looks like this car is practical enough for a family. Does it drive well enough for a family? The Tiguan has a seatbelt which hugs you a little bit as you set off, which is a nice feeling. Now, this model has VW's 1.5 litre turbocharged petrol 4-cylinder with a mild hybrid system. So it uses a 48 volt starter generator instead of a traditional alternator setup. This 1.5 litre turbo petrol produces 150 PS and 250 Newton meters of torque, both of which mean this car is good for 0 to 62 in 9.1 seconds. So it's not what I'd describe as particularly fast, but it's certainly adequate. This is mated to VW's DSG gearbox, but you have in fact got a stalk mounted shift control instead of a traditional lever down here in the center. Electronic handbrake, so you've just got a little switch for that, and to be honest, this whole drivetrain is a very well thought out drivetrain. It's certainly competent, and to be honest, VW have been making competent and capable drivetrains like this for years. What you've got here is that extra little benefit in terms of mild hybrid system for a small boost in efficiency. You've got a tremendous amount of space in this cabin. It's very comfortable and very large. I'm not struggling for elbow room or shoulder room here at all, and this driving position is fantastically elevated, so it's really easy to see where you're going, and you've got great wing mirrors as well, and rear visibility is also brilliant. In terms of driving characteristics, the Tiguan is perfectly acceptable. It's a very competent family hauler. It's not going to blow your socks off dynamically, but it's not meant to. It's meant to just be able to transport you, your children, and your possessions to a lot of places in relative ease and comfort, and certainly this model seems very capable of doing that. I've got paddles behind the wheel, which is a little bit exciting because it means that if I really want to, I can be slightly sporty and control the gear shifts myself. Put your foot down and the engine does become a little bit vocal, but the speed certainly picks up well enough. It's not an engine and powertrain designed for outright speed, but certainly in terms of comfort and refinement, it's got a lot going for it. The steering wheel is very nice to hold, the pedal feel is good, the brakes are engaging, and you've got an excellent heads-up display. So in terms of tech and engagement with the vehicle, it's pretty reasonable in here. The steering doesn't offer much in the way of feel or feedback, but then again, it's a family crossover. It's not really what this car's about. It's pretty easy to navigate tighter spaces, the steering is nimble enough, and certainly your visibility is also really good, so that makes it pretty easy to get through tight spots. The overall driving experience is pretty comfortable, pretty well controlled, and certainly it's the kind of car that you can just get in and go somewhere. You can run errands in this, or you can do a much longer journey and all be pretty comfortable whilst doing so. I do believe also that I've got some massaging seats in this, which is just fantastic and really helps make a longer journey a little bit more comfortable to do. So yeah, on the whole, this is a driving experience that doesn't particularly offer you a lot in the way of feel or engagement, but it's absolutely a car that you can just run your family life from. So yep, the new Tiguan looks pretty sharp, it drives well enough, and it's a very practical family vehicle. So yeah, if you're looking for a crossover of this size to haul you and your kids and your stuff around in, absolutely worth taking a look at this car. If you have enjoyed today's video, please do let us know by liking, commenting and subscribing to the Buckle Up YouTube channel. You can find all of the ways to support us via social media, channel memberships or merchandise down in the description below, and we will see you next time. Bye! It's going to talk. Stop talking.
Oh, that's something as...
Stop.
Navigation announcement switched off.
The voice assistant though is just as annoying as it was previously.